when you get hurt.
Hey guys, today we are diving deep into the gloriously absurd and deeply heartfelt world of F9, the Fast Saga, a film that somehow manages to combine street racing, global espionage, and rocket science into one adrenaline-fueled package. We are going to break down every impossible jump, every emotional revelation, and every time someone reminds us what family truly means. So, buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. And if you had a good time with this, a like and a subscribe is a free way to help me keep making more.
Thinking. Why? What is Belega?
That's me danger landmines.
Foot blast radius in a half a second. Go. You put your foot to that floor.
Station, and then we're clear.
You good? Go! How in the hell are you not dead?
2 miles to what looks like a...
Love you,
The device.
Oh, hell.
The military's not giving up.
This way!
Okay, that one was...
Location.
I've got it. I'm headed to you now. Jakob, I'm there. I don't see any.
Get in there to deactivate it by the time Roman and...
Satellite is in low orbit.
Time to get ready, boys.
World War I.
Oh, I'm sorry. Count for pressure differential. Only 4 or 5 count. No, man. I'm invincible. Let's see how invincible. Ah! Right there, you see?
Numbers is what you do, right? You know.
The ray. It's interfering.
Han? I think I can link into their feed.
Something you want to tell me, Otto?
My bad.
Guess who's out of the box, Jacob? Never my competition.
Man, I am so sorry. No one. Escort and Jake
Finishes myself.
What's this made of? You ready, Al?
Crank it.
Dom, we don't get out of here now. We're dead.
Through. We flip it and we hit the under.
Dom, I can't get to you.
All right. Okay. All right. Power up.
Hey, what's going on? The pressure of the lung.
Guys, where are you?
Master, let's run it over, right?
No. We'd be stuck out here forever.
Know what, Tev? But you know what, bro?
Let's do it.
4, 3.
Yeah, man. Now.
Dominic Toretto finds himself pulled back into the world of high-stakes espionage when his estranged brother, Jakob, emerges as a master criminal, aiming to unleash a world-threatening device known as Project Ares. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, Dom and his crew must confront long-buried family secrets, survive impossible car chases, and even venture into space, all while navigating the treacherous schemes of their old enemy, Cypher. Our story, or at least the foundation of Dom's deeply rooted issues, actually begins way back in 1989. We're transported to a dusty, sun-baked racetrack, the roar of stock car engines a visceral presence shaking the very ground. Young Dominic, a wiry and intense kid, watches his father, Jack Toretto, a man of quiet strength and unwavering dedication, as he works on his beloved stock car. The scent of gasoline and burnt rubber hangs heavy in the air, a familiar comfort for the Toretto boys. Young Jakob, Dom's younger brother, is also there, observing with a focused intensity that hints at the formidable operative he'll become. The tension is palpable even before the race begins. There's a quiet rivalry, a competitive spirit between the brothers that the film quickly establishes as a deep-seated fracture point. The race itself is a symphony of controlled chaos. Engines scream, tires squeal in protest as cars jostle for position, their metal bodies groaning under the strain. Jack Toretto is in the lead, pushing his machine to its limits, the cheers of the crowd a distant hum against the mechanical symphony. Then, in a sickening crunch of metal and a sudden burst of flame, disaster strikes. A rival car clips Jack's vehicle, sending it spiraling into the barrier. The impact is brutal, a deafening clang, followed by the horrifying silence that only accompanies such a catastrophic event. Smoke billows into the sky, a dark plume against the bright afternoon. Young Dom rushes forward, his heart pounding in his chest, a desperate plea escaping his lips. He sees his father, trapped, dying, and hears the terrible accusations hurled his way by Jakob, who blames Dom for tinkering with the car that fateful day. This single, traumatic event, steeped in grief and misunderstanding, forms the gaping wound between the Toretto brothers, a wound that festers for decades. The race itself is a symphony of controlled chaos. Engines scream, tires squeal in protest as cars jostle for position, their metal bodies groaning under the strain. Jack Toretto is in the lead, pushing his machine to its limits, the cheers of the crowd a distant hum against the mechanical symphony. Then, in a sickening crunch of metal and a sudden burst of flame, disaster strikes. A rival car clips Jack's vehicle, sending it spiraling into the barrier. The impact is brutal, a deafening clang, followed by the horrifying silence that only accompanies such a catastrophic event. Smoke billows into the sky, a dark plume against the bright afternoon. Young Dom rushes forward, his heart pounding in his chest, a desperate plea escaping his lips. He sees his father, trapped, dying, and hears the terrible accusations hurled his way by Jakob, who blames Dom for tinkering with the car that fateful day. This single, traumatic event, steeped in grief and misunderstanding, forms the gaping wound between the Toretto brothers, a wound that festers for decades.
Fast forward to the present, and we find Dominic Toretto, now a man seasoned by years of high-octane adventures, attempting a semblance of peace. He's living off the grid on a remote farm, far from the city lights, the scent of fresh earth and the chirping of crickets replacing the engine fumes and gunfire of his past. He's with Letty, the love of his life, and their young son, Brian. The scene is idyllic, almost too perfect. Dom is teaching little Brian how to work on a tractor, the rhythmic clang of tools against metal echoing in the quiet barn. The image of domestic tranquility is striking, especially for a man who lives life a quarter mile at a time. Letty, ever the pragmatist, senses Dom's underlying restlessness. She knows a man like Dom can't simply trade supercars for farm equipment forever. The quiet life, while beautiful, feels like a temporary reprieve. Their peace, as expected, is shattered by the arrival of an old friend, or rather, a familiar group of friends with an urgent message. Roman, Tej, and Ramsey burst onto their serene farm, their usual boisterous energy a jarring contrast to the quiet. Roman, with his characteristic blend of humor and occasional exasperation, is already complaining about the state of their intel. Tej, ever the tech wizard, is frantically tapping away at a tablet, his brows furrowed in concern. Ramsey, the brilliant hacker, looks unusually grim. They bring news of Mr. Nobody, the enigmatic government operative who has been both an ally and a puppeteer in their previous adventures. Nobody's plane has gone down, seemingly shot out of the sky by a mysterious force. On board was a critical package, something called Project Ares, a device so dangerous it could plunge the world into chaos. The situation is dire, and the crew's faces reflect the gravity of the threat. The quiet farm instantly transforms into a strategic command center, the sounds of their urgent whispered conversations replacing the gentle hum of nature. Dom, despite his desire for a peaceful life, knows he cannot turn away from this. The call of duty and the implicit danger to his own family is too strong to ignore. The past, in its loudest, most explosive form, has come knocking. The hunt for Mr. Nobody's plane wreckage leads Dom and his crew to the dense, sun-drenched jungles of Monte Quinto. The air is thick with humidity, the oppressive heat a stark contrast to the cold calculation of the mission. The drone footage Tej pilots through the dense canopy shows the mangled remains of the jet, a twisted metal carcass against the vibrant green. It's a somber sight, a testament to the brutal efficiency of whatever brought it down. As they meticulously search the crash site, the sounds of snapping twigs and rustling leaves are magnified by the tension. They're not alone.
Suddenly, the jungle explodes with gunfire. The distinctive crack of rifle shots rips through the air, forcing the team to scatter. Dom, ever the leader, yells commands, his voice a guttural roar above the din. The fight quickly escalates from a search and rescue to a full-blown combat zone. But this isn't just any combat. They quickly realize the opposition has a strange, powerful weapon, an electromagnetic device, a giant, mobile magnet that rips through the jungle, tearing metal objects from their moorings with an unsettling metallic shriek. Trees splinter and crumble as cars are violently wrenched from the ground, flung through the air like toys. It's a chaos of twisted metal and flying debris, a testament to the sheer destructive force of this new threat. During the escalating chaos, the magnet snatches Dom's car, pulling it inexorably towards a massive armored truck, a hulking metallic beast at the heart of the enemy's operation. The groaning of stressed metal, the grinding of gears, the high-pitched whine of the magnet's energy field, it all converges into a terrifying symphony. Dom, with a primal yell, leaps from his car just before it's crushed. He's on foot, dodging bullets and the erratic pull of the magnet, a blur of motion through the jungle. He sees Tej in peril, his car pinned and about to be destroyed. Without a second thought, Dom executes an insane physics-defying leap, swinging on a dangling vine, a human projectile launched through the air. He crashes into Tej's car, narrowly pulling his friend to safety just as the vehicle is obliterated. It's a classic Dom move, sacrificing his own safety for a friend, embodying the family mantra even in the face of impossible odds. Amidst the confusion and the roar of engines, a figure emerges from the chaos, a man whose movements are as precise and deadly as Dom's own. He's lean, imposing, and his eyes hold a familiar intensity. It's Jakob. The revelation hits Dom like a physical blow. The brother he disowned, the one who carries the weight of their father's death, is not only alive, but is the mastermind behind this attack. The air crackles with unspoken history, with decades of resentment and betrayal. Jakob, with a smirk, delivers a cutting line about Dom always being the one to run away from their past. The words are sharp, meant to sting, and they do.
The jungle, already a scene of destruction, now feels charged with an even deeper, more personal conflict. Dom's initial shock gives way to a simmering rage. This isn't just a mission anymore, it's a deeply personal war. The sounds of distant gunfire and the frantic shouts of their crew fade into the background as the two brothers lock eyes, their shared history a heavy, invisible weight between them. With Jakob's shocking reappearance and the revelation of his involvement with Project Ares, the team, shaken but determined, regroups in London. They set up shop in one of Mr. Nobody's many clandestine safe houses, a place teeming with screens displaying encrypted data and schematics. The mood is tense, the air thick with apprehension. Ramsey, her fingers flying across a keyboard, meticulously pieces together the fragments of data they salvaged. She explains Project Ares, detailing its terrifying capability. It's a global digital weapon, capable of hijacking any computer system on Earth. This isn't just about stealing money or causing a few power outages. This is about control, about plunging the world into total chaos with the push of a button. It's a tool for absolute global domination, and Jakob, apparently, is the key to activating it. The stakes have just been raised exponentially. As Ramsey dissects the digital threat, Roman, ever the one to point out the obvious, and sometimes the ridiculous, laments their current predicament. So we're basically fighting James Bond now, but he's Dom's brother and he's super good at everything, he quips, a touch of his usual sarcasm bleeding through his genuine worry. Tej, though, is more focused. He points out a curious detail in Mr. Nobody's recovered files, a photograph, partially obscured, showing Nobody with another figure. A flash of recognition crosses Dom's face. He recognizes the silhouette, the way the person carries themselves. "It's O'Connor," he says, his voice a low rumble filled with a mix of surprise and a quiet ache of nostalgia. The mention of Brian O'Connor, a ghost from their past who has chosen a life of peace with Mia, adds another layer of complexity to an already convoluted situation. It's a subtle nod to the character's continued presence in their world, a reminder of the family members who are still out there, living their own lives. The gravity of the situation, the personal vendetta against Jakob, forces Dom to make a difficult call. He dials Mia, his sister, knowing that involving her means pulling her back into the dangerous life she left behind. The phone rings, each pulse a drumbeat of reluctant necessity. When Mia's voice comes through, there's a mixture of concern and a familiar resilience. Dom doesn't mince words. He tells her about Jakob, about Project Ares, about the danger. Without hesitation, Mia agrees to come. The bond of family, particularly between the Toretto siblings, is unbreakable, even when it means facing their shared, painful past. Mia's arrival injects a different kind of energy into the safe house. Her presence is a calming force, but her mind is sharp, her understanding of their family dynamics unparalleled. She immediately confronts Dom about his estranged relationship with Jakob, probing at the old wounds. There's a quiet intensity in their conversation, the hushed tones underscoring the deep-seated pain. The sound of her voice, steady and firm, pushes Dom to confront the very thing he's been running from for decades. It's during this tense family reunion that another shockwave ripples through the crew. The surveillance footage, the cryptic clues, and a single, almost imperceptible detail from Mr. Nobody's encrypted messages all point to an impossible truth. Han is alive. The name hangs in the air, a breath held by everyone in the room. Roman, ever the first to react, lets out a disbelieving gasp. Han? Like our Han? The one who exploded in Tokyo? Again? The sheer audacity of the suggestion, the idea that someone they mourned so profoundly could be walking among the living, is almost too much to process. Tej, usually so composed, stares wide-eyed at the screen, a slow grin spreading across his face. The movie then takes us on a journey back in time, to the streets of Tokyo, to provide context for this monumental revelation. The scene replays the devastating crash we saw in the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, and again in Fast and Furious 6. The brutal impact, the crunch of metal, the subsequent explosion, the fiery inferno that consumed Han's RX-7. The sounds are just as visceral, the impact just as shocking. But this time, we see it from a different perspective. We see Mr. Nobody, that cunning, shadowy figure, orchestrating a deception. He's there, a master puppeteer, pulling the strings. It's revealed that Han's death was a meticulously staged illusion, a deep cover operation designed to protect a young woman named Elle, and, more importantly, a crucial component of Project Ares. A unique DNA-activated key passed down through Elle's family that can control the device. The death was to protect Han and Elle from the very forces now pursuing Project Ares. The revelation unfolds with the precision of a Swiss watch, each piece clicking into place, the sound of the explanation satisfyingly tying together loose ends from previous films. Han, a man of quiet wisdom and unwavering loyalty, has been living under the radar, a ghost in the machine, protecting Elle and the dangerous secret for years. The sheer audacity of this plot twist, of course, elicits a collective groan of how many times can they fake someone's death from the audience. But hey, it's Fast and Furious. Suspension of disbelief is practically a required skill. With the knowledge of Han's survival, the team shifts their focus to finding him and Elle. Their next lead takes them to Edinburgh, Scotland, a city of ancient cobblestone streets and historic architecture, which, naturally, is about to become the backdrop for another ludicrous car chase. The team has discovered that Jakob, with Otto's backing, plans to steal the second key to Project Ares during a high-profile convoy transfer. The plan is simple, yet utterly insane. Disrupt the convoy, snatch the key, and stop Jakob. The chase begins with a deafening roar of engines and the piercing wail of police sirens echoing through the narrow streets. Jakob, ever the master operative, drives a monstrous armored truck, a hulking metallic beast impervious to conventional attacks. His crew, a well-oiled machine of skilled drivers and combatants, are like shadows, weaving through traffic with ruthless efficiency. Dom, in his signature Charger, is right on their tail, the guttural rumble of his engine a familiar battle cry. Letty and Mia, in other modified vehicles, are a whirlwind of controlled aggression, their tires squealing as they take impossible turns. But the real star of this show, aside from the sheer chaos, is Ramsey's magnificent magnet car. This specially modified vehicle houses an enormous, remotely activated electromagnet. The metallic hum of its activation is quickly followed by a guttural groan of tearing metal as it snatches vehicles, lampposts, and anything else metallic from the streets, flinging them aside like discarded toys. The sound is utterly incredible, a symphony of destruction. Imagine the loud clang of a colossal magnet slamming shut, followed by the sickening crunch of a car's chassis as it's pulled apart, its engine screaming in protest. It's glorious. Roman, of course, is both terrified and exhilarated, yelling over the comms, "Did we just magnetize an entire intersection? That's not how magnets work." His usual banter provides much-needed comic relief amidst the high-stakes mayhem. The chase careens through crowded market squares, the shouts of surprised pedestrians mixing with the squeal of tires. They drive through historic alleyways, the ancient stone walls reverberating with the sounds of gunfire and accelerating engines. At one point, Dom, showing off his uncanny ability to perform gravity-defying stunts, uses the magnet to launch his car over a building. The crunch of asphalt, the momentary weightlessness, and the rough landing are all described in vivid detail. It's a moment that truly pushes the boundaries of belief, even for this franchise. Roman, of course, is both terrified and exhilarated, yelling over the comms, "Did we just magnetize an entire intersection? That's not how magnets work." His usual banter provides much-needed comic relief amidst the high-stakes mayhem. The chase careens through crowded market squares, the shouts of surprised pedestrians mixing with the squeal of tires. They drive through historic alleyways, the ancient stone walls reverberating with the sounds of gunfire and accelerating engines. At one point, Dom, showing off his uncanny ability to perform gravity-defying stunts, uses the magnet to launch his car over a building. The crunch of asphalt, the momentary weightlessness, and the rough landing are all described in vivid detail. It's a moment that truly pushes the boundaries of belief, even for this franchise. The climax of the Edinburgh sequence is a desperate confrontation on the rooftops. Dom, having crashed his charger in a spectacularly dramatic fashion, finds himself face to face with Jakob on the very edge of a tall building. The wind whips around them, a chilling whisper against the backdrop of the city lights below. The fight is brutal, raw, a visceral clash of two brothers who have held decades of resentment in their fists. Each punch lands with a sickening thud, each block a sharp crack of bone against bone. There's no fancy choreography here, just pure, unadulterated rage and skill. The grunts of effort, the sharp intakes of breath, the rustle of their clothes, all contribute to the intense physicality of the scene. Jakob, with a cold, calculating precision, manages to secure the second key to Project Ares, narrowly escaping Dom's grasp. The metallic click of the key being secured, the soft hiss of his grapple hook, and the whoosh of his descent are the final sounds of his victory. Dom watches him disappear into the night, the weight of his failure heavy on his shoulders, the familial betrayal burning even deeper than before. The city's distant hum seems to mock him, the sounds of distant sirens fading into the night. Following the devastating loss of the second Project Ares key, Dom returns to his childhood home, a place steeped in both cherished memories and profound trauma. The familiar scent of old wood and worn leather fills the air, a sensory trigger for the flood of emotions brewing within him. The house, usually a sanctuary, now feels like a cage, amplifying his frustration and guilt. Mia, ever perceptive, recognizes the tempest raging inside her brother. She sits him down, her voice a calm, steady anchor in his emotional storm. She knows that to truly defeat Jakob, Dom must first confront the ghosts of their past. And so, Dom finally opens up, recounting the painful truth of their father's death, the secret he has carried for so long. He reveals how, after the fatal stock car accident, he found Jakob working on their father's car, making adjustments to the engine. He confesses to the simmering anger, the feeling of betrayal, the belief that Jakob's tinkering had somehow contributed to their father's demise. The words are heavy, laden with years of unspoken anguish. The sound of Dom's voice, usually a deep rumble of confidence, is now strained, filled with a raw vulnerability. He describes the metallic tang of fear and grief in his mouth that day, the way his hands shook as he confronted his younger brother. Jakob, in Dom's recollection, had remained silent, his face a mask of defiance and pain, refusing to deny or explain. This perceived lack of remorse, this crushing silence, had been the final straw for Dom, leading to his brutal banishment of Jakob, effectively severing their familial ties. The flashback to that pivotal moment is heartbreaking. We see young Dom, his face contorted with grief and rage, his voice cracking as he tells Jakob to leave, to never come back. The sickening thud of the door slamming shut, sealing their fate, echoes through the house. The sounds of breaking crockery, the crash of a chair being overturned, all paint a vivid picture of the sheer emotional devastation. Jakob's silent, defeated departure, the shuffle of his feet on the dirt road, is as impactful as any explosion. But Mia, a conduit for understanding and healing, challenges Dom's long-held narrative. She questions the absolute certainty of his assumptions, urging him to consider other possibilities, to look beyond his own pain. The conversation is quiet but intense, their voices low, almost conspiratorial, the weight of their family history pressing down on them. Mia plants a seed of doubt, suggesting that Jakob's silence might have stemmed from a place of shame or protection rather than guilt. The revelation leaves Dom visibly shaken, the foundation of his lifelong grudge beginning to crack. The truth, as they say, is often far more complicated than a simple blame game. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Dom's crew, Cypher, the nefarious cyber-terrorist, is still pulling strings from the shadows, her sinister laughter a chilling counterpoint to the Toretto family drama. She is working with Otto, a wealthy and enigmatic figure who seems to have an endless supply of resources and a questionable moral compass. Their plan, revealed in a series of tense, hushed conversations peppered with the cold clicks of keyboards, is to fully activate Project Ares. They need both halves of the device, and with Jakob having secured the second key, they are agonizingly close. Cypher, with her signature blend of chilling calm and cutting wit, manipulates Otto, praising his ambition while subtly reminding him who truly holds the power. She explains that Jakob is merely a pawn in her grand design, a disposable tool to achieve her ultimate goal of global cyber warfare. The sounds of their conspiratorial whispers, punctuated by the soft beeping of their communication devices, underscore the insidious nature of their alliance. The ticking clock of Project Ares activation hangs heavy in the air, a silent threat to the entire world. The long-anticipated reunion with Han finally takes place in Tokyo, a city bustling with vibrant lights and an almost overwhelming symphony of urban sounds. The distant murmur of countless conversations, the soft hiss of pneumatic doors on bullet trains, the endless hum of electricity. It's a sensory overload, yet beneath it all, there's a quiet tension. Dom, Mia, Letty, Roman, Tej, and Ramsey arrive at a hidden safe house, a quiet oasis amidst the urban sprawl. The door slides open with a gentle whoosh, revealing Han. He stands there, a ghost brought back to life, his signature stoic calm unwavering, a faint, knowing smile playing on his lips. The sight of him elicits a chorus of gasps, a mix of relief and disbelief from the crew. Roman, predictably, is the most vocal, his voice thick with emotion. "Han, you magnificent bastard! We thought you were ramen!" he exclaims, a watery laugh escaping him as he rushes forward for a bone-crushing hug. The sound of their heartfelt embraces, the pats on the back, and the choked-up greetings are a stark contrast to the usual explosions and gunfire. Han, with his characteristic quiet grace, introduces them to Elle, the young woman he has been protecting for years. Elle is a fascinating character, quiet and watchful, but with a fierce intelligence in her eyes. She is revealed to be the true key to Project Ares, or rather, her unique DNA. She explains that the device was created by her parents, brilliant scientists who wanted to build a failsafe for the world's digital infrastructure, something that could reset everything if it went wrong. But they also built in a security measure. It could only be activated by a specific genetic code, hers. The story unfolds, told in Han's calm, measured tones, and Elle's soft yet firm voice. We learn about the ruthless assassins who hunted her parents, the desperate measures Mr. Nobody took to protect her, including faking Han's death. The sound of Han's gentle reassurances to Elle, the rustle of her jacket as she shifts nervously, all contribute to the emotional weight of the scene. The team then moves to a secret underground facility, a place humming with unseen technology. Here, the true horror of Project Ares is laid bare. Ramsey projects a holographic display of the device, its intricate circuits glowing with an ominous blue light. It's a terrifyingly elegant piece of engineering, capable of overriding any digital system on Earth, from power grids to defense networks. The implications are staggering. One wrong move, one push of a button, and the world could plunge into an unprecedented dark age. The quiet hum of the projector, the low, serious tones of Ramsey's voice as she explains the technicalities, all amplify the sense of impending doom. The weight of the world, it seems, now rests on Elle's shoulders and on the combined strength of the Fast family.
While Dom and the others are busy with family reunions and high-tech explanations, Roman and Tej, being the perpetually unlucky comic relief, are on their own side mission. They've been tasked with acquiring a highly specialized piece of equipment from a notoriously secretive tech genius named Yosef,
who operates out of a chaotic makeshift hideout. The place is a cacophony of whirring machines, clanking metal, and the general disarray of a mad scientist's lair. Sparks fly, wires crisscross every surface, and the air smells faintly of ozone and burnt coffee. Yosef, an eccentric inventor with wild hair and an even wilder disposition, greets them with a mix of suspicion and a booming, manic laugh. He quickly realizes Roman and Tej aren't exactly tech-savvy. Roman, in an attempt to sound knowledgeable, spouts off random tech jargon, leading to a hilarious exchange where Yosef simply stares at him, then bursts into another guttural laugh. The sound of Yosef's booming voice, the clatter of his various contraptions, and Roman's increasingly frustrated grunts fill the space. Their quest for the device leads them to a truly absurd creation, a Pontiac Fiero. Not just any Fiero, mind you, but one that Yosef has somehow retrofitted with a rocket engine. The reveal is met with utter disbelief from Roman. A Fiero? That's our ticket to what? The moon? Are we going to space now? He deadpans, his voice dripping with incredulity. Tej, however, with his brilliant mind, sees the potential, despite the inherent ridiculousness. The Fiero, gleaming with its new, questionable propulsion system, sits proudly amidst the chaos, looking both out of place and perfectly at home in this universe. The metallic clink of the wrench, the hiss of a hydraulic pipe, the faint whirring of the rocket engine's components all add to the sense of bizarre invention. Yosef assures them it's fully functional, though his definition of functional might be a little different from theirs. Roman's muttered protestations and Tej's quiet contemplation set the stage for one of the most memorable and utterly insane sequences in the entire franchise. The sounds of their bickering and Yosef's proud hooting create a comedic symphony, a brief respite before the inevitable, explosive action. The stage for the final climactic showdown is set in Tbilisi, a city with a striking blend of ancient architecture and modern infrastructure, all about to be thoroughly demolished. Jakob, backed by Otto and the formidable forces of Cypher, has successfully initiated Project Ares. Their goal? To launch a satellite that will broadcast the Ares signal globally, plunging the world into a new era of cybernetic control. The air thrums with a palpable tension, the distant rumble of approaching engines signaling the start of the final battle. The city streets become a chaotic battlefield. Dom and his crew, a blur of highly tuned metal and strategic brilliance, unleash their full arsenal. The distinctive roar of Dom's charger, the high-pitched whine of Letty's bike, the aggressive growl of Tej's customized vehicle. It's a symphony of horsepower and controlled mayhem. The primary target is a massive, armored truck, a truly monstrous vehicle, rumbling through the streets like an unstoppable juggernaut. It carries the precious satellite, its metallic shell glinting under the harsh glare of artificial light. Ramsey, positioned in her magnet-equipped car, once again becomes the maestro of metallic destruction. The deafening hum of the magnet activates, pulling cars, streetlights, and even entire sections of buildings towards the armored truck, creating a path of utter devastation. The sounds are magnificent. The metallic groan of the magnet, the sickening screech of tortured metal, the explosive shatter of glass, and the distant shouts of terrified pedestrians. Roman, still marveling at the sheer absurdity, yells into the comms, "Are we just making a giant metal snowball now? This is insane!" Dom, with a fierce determination etched on his face, orchestrates a daring plan to get to the satellite. He uses the magnet car to launch his charger directly into the side of the moving armored truck. The impact is tremendous, a sickening crunch of metal against metal that reverberates through the entire scene. The sound of tearing steel and splintering concomitants fill the air. He then battles his way through a hail of gunfire, the sharp cracks of automatic weapons echoing in the confined space of the truck. His fists land with heavy thuds against his opponents, the grunts of effort and pain a visceral accompaniment to the close-quarters combat. Meanwhile, in the most audacious and physics-defying sequence of the entire franchise, Roman and Tej are about to take their rocket-powered Pontiac Fiero into space. Yes, you heard that right, space. The Fiero, now gleaming under the harsh floodlights of a makeshift launch pad, looks even more ridiculous and magnificent. Roman, strapped into the cramped cockpit, is a nervous wreck. "Tell me again why we're the ones going to space in a literal hot rod," he demands, his voice a frantic squeak over the comms. Tej, calm as ever, simply reminds him it's the only way to destroy Cypher satellite. The countdown begins, the air vibrating with the raw power of the Fiero's improvised rocket engine. A deafening roar, a concussion of sound that rattles the very ground, accompanies the ignition. Flames erupt from the rear, and with a breathtaking burst of speed, the little Fiero, carrying its two bewildered occupants, hurtles skyward. The whoosh of its ascent, the fading roar of its engines, and the final, almost poetic silence as it disappears into the dark expanse of the sky is truly a sight and sound to behold.
Orbiting above the Earth, the Fiero, looking utterly out of place against the blackness of space and the serene blue of the planet, closes in on Cypher's satellite. Roman, now experiencing zero gravity, floats around the tiny cabin, his panicked shouts muffled by his helmet. "I told you we needed more cup holders," he gripes, his voice an excited tremor. Tej, with remarkable composure, manually aims the Fiero, using its remaining thrust to collide with the satellite. The impact is a muffled thump, a soft explosion in the vacuum of space, far removed from the ground-level chaos. Flashes of light illuminate the Fiero and the crumbling satellite, a silent ballet of destruction. The satellite explodes in a shower of sparks and debris, effectively neutralizing Project Ares. Roman and Tej, miraculously surviving the explosion, are left drifting in space, their rocket Fiero a battered testament to their improbable journey. The soft, rhythmic beeping of their life support systems is the only sound, a stark reminder of their precarious situation. Back on Earth, the battle rages. Dom, having successfully destroyed the satellite's ground-based control, finds himself confronting Jakob directly within the remnants of the armored truck. Their fight is even more personal now, fueled by the recent revelations and the raw intensity of their shared history. The sounds of their grunts, the sharp impact of their fists, the metallic creak of the damaged truck, it's a brutal, close-quarters brawl. Jakob, however, realizing that Cypher has betrayed him and intends to sacrifice him, is forced to make a choice. In a surprising turn, he sides with Dom, helping him to escape Cypher's remaining forces. The clanging of their combined efforts to break through the truck's reinforced walls, the shouts of their enemies, and the roar of Dom's last-second escape vehicle create a chaotic symphony of their unlikely alliance. Cypher, however, is a slippery adversary. Despite her plans being thwarted, she manages to escape in a jet, her chilling laughter echoing over the comms, promising future destruction. The whoosh of her jet taking off, the high-pitched whine of its engines, is the sound of her fleeting victory, a promise that the conflict is far from over. With the world saved and Project Ares neutralized, the Fast family finally has a chance to breathe. The scene transitions to a familiar setting, the backyard of Dom's old family home, filled with the comforting sounds of laughter, clinking glasses, and the sizzle of food on the grill. It's a quintessential Toretto family barbecue, a ritual that signifies peace and togetherness after every world-saving ordeal. Little Brian chases a ball, his innocent giggles a beautiful counterpoint to the relief in the adults' faces.
Han, having fully rejoined the family, is sitting beside Elle, a protective hand on her shoulder. The quiet murmur of their conversation is warm and reassuring. Roman, still recounting his space adventure with exaggerated hand gestures and booming laughter, has everyone in stitches. Tej and Ramsey, their tech genius minds finally unplugged, share a rare, contented smile. Letty, ever the rock, leans her head against Dom's shoulder, the quiet rustle of her jacket and the soft beat of their hearts, a testament to their enduring love. Amidst the joyful reunion, Jakob makes a quiet, almost unnoticed departure. He exchanges a knowing look with Dom, a silent acknowledgement of their complicated past and their tentative reconciliation. There's no grand apology, no dramatic embrace, just a shared understanding forged in the crucible of battle. Dom simply nods, a small, almost imperceptible gesture that speaks volumes. Jakob gets into a familiar, sleek car, the low rumble of its engine a soft farewell. He drives off into the sunset, choosing his own path, perhaps for good this time. The crunch of his tires on the gravel driveway fading into the distance. It's a moment of quiet grace, a recognition that not all family wounds heal perfectly, but they can, perhaps, find a new way to coexist. As the evening draws to a close, a very specific, iconic vehicle pulls into the driveway. It's a blue Nissan Skyline, instantly recognizable, its engine humming a gentle, familiar tune. The sound of its tires on the gravel, the distinct purr of its engine, causes everyone to pause, their conversations softening. Dom, with a knowing smile, looks towards the car, a silent invitation in his eyes. The implication is clear. Brian O'Connor, their absent brother, is here. The door opens, but the camera doesn't show who steps out, leaving it to the audience's imagination, a poignant nod to a beloved character and the enduring power of family, even beyond the screen. The quiet hum of the Skyline's engine, the collective intake of breath from the family, creates a powerful moment of reverence and hope. As we look back at the wild ride that was F9, it's impossible not to be struck by the enduring, almost gravitational pull of family in this saga. This isn't just about cars or explosions, though we certainly got a healthy dose of both. It's about the unbreakable bonds we forge, the secrets we keep, and the arduous journey of forgiveness. Dom's path with Jakob reminds us that confronting our past, even the most painful parts, is essential for true healing, and that sometimes the ones we push away are the ones who need us most. It's a testament to the idea that no matter how far we drift or how many impossible obstacles we face, the heart of our chosen or biological family will always call us home. As we look back at the wild ride that was F9, it's impossible not to be struck by the enduring, almost gravitational pull of family in this saga. This isn't just about cars or explosions, though we certainly got a healthy dose of both. It's about the unbreakable bonds we forge, the secrets we keep, and the arduous journey of forgiveness. Dom's path with Jakob reminds us that confronting our past, even the most painful parts, is essential for true healing, and that sometimes the ones we push away are the ones who need us most. It's a testament to the idea that no matter how far we drift or how many impossible obstacles we face, the heart of our chosen or biological family will always call us home.
F9 is a film that fully embraces its legacy, taking the Fast and Furious franchise to new, literally stratospheric heights. It leans into the absurdity with joy, while never forgetting the emotional core that makes these characters so beloved. It's a spectacle of vehicular mayhem and brotherly drama that proves there's still plenty of fuel left in the tank for this family.